Hey guys, Dylan Grabowski here with NEO News Today. We're talking with John deVadoss. He's the head of the newly formed NGD Seattle. So how's it going today?
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Great. So lots of questions to ask. I think one of the first ones that I and the viewers might really be interested in is how did the relationship with NEO start? Did you reach out to NEO? Did they reach out to you? What did that look like?
Both ways. I mean, Hung Fei and I and Peng and, we had met during our journeys in China. And so it was just a mutually, serendipity. And but I'll tell you what, though, my motivation is the NEO platform, the unique algorithm for consensus, the developer focus, the bet on .NET, the polyglot nature of the developer focus. I mean, I'm like, look, this is the platform, man.
Yeah.
I got to find a way to work with these folks.
So what does that look like for you? What is NGD Seattle? What are going to be the first steps that you're looking to get into?
Yeah, so really the underlying motivation goes back to Hung Fei's vision. Obviously the smart economy is the anchor for the NEO platform vision. What this means, obviously, as he said, is make this the most developer-friendly platform. And for us, this means in Seattle, we focus on two things. The tools, want to make it as friction-free, as less friction as possible, what we call like the F5 experience, you push the button and you got to be able to get things rolling. And secondly, we had a stage where we are seeing emerging use cases, recurring patterns. And so for those patterns, we want to build the building blocks, the libraries, the frameworks to make developers very productive. We don't want them to reinvent the wheel every single time. And this is the time to do it. Seattle is the platform city. Every cloud platform is being built in Seattle. And so NEO ought to be in Seattle.
Awesome. So that you have a very rich history with Microsoft and business as well. So could you tell us a little bit about your history and what you've done with Microsoft and with your businesses?
I'll keep it short.
Okay, yeah.
So a couple of things. I was a GM on the early .NET team, building out the developer platform, working with the developers, the broader worldwide community, and the architecture strategy. So I have some experience in building and scaling large platforms. I also built Microsoft Digital from $0 to $500 million of revenue, so grew a very large business. And again, what drives me is this unique platform opportunity we have. I mean, this is the beginning. We haven't seen anything yet.
Right.
It's almost, to me, feels like the cloud back in 2006, 07, public, private, consortia, early tools, frameworks, and I think this is going to be a fantastic journey.
Yeah, absolutely. We're very excited to have you on board.
Awesome.
So then, on top of that, what are your thoughts on decentralization of public blockchains, and what are the differences on a local and an international level?
So here's how I would say it. So decentralization is the underlying principle, obviously, for blockchain-based applications. But I think we want to be careful. We don't want to get too academic in terms of how thou shalt or thou shalt not. I think there are some other platforms out there which take almost a theoretical, ivory tower perspective on decentralization. Our view here is we want to serve the developer community. So what is the pragmatic way? The pragmatic idealism, as we heard yesterday. Pragmatic way to serve the developer community. I'll give you a data point. So globally, Dylan, there's about 20 plus million developers globally, building apps of all shapes and sizes. If you look at the blockchain space, the crypto space, right? At best, there's probably a couple of 100,000 developers.
Right.
So we aren't even touching the tip of the iceberg. So we want to serve all those developers. And so we will listen to the developers, we will listen to the communities. And obviously the underlying theoretical basis is decentralization, but being very pragmatic about how we apply it to create value, to make it fun for developers to build DFs,
Absolutely.
to make it an enjoyable journey along the way.
Yeah, so we have Microsoft here, we have Amazon. So what do those efforts look like, reaching out to developers who are building in traditional technology?
Absolutely. So this morning there was a developer asking me, I think much of the developer habits, if you will, the coding practices certainly translate over. Code hygiene, code quality, code factoring, well-designed architectures in terms of design patterns. But I think the scenarios, the possibilities are distinctly different from building apps of yesteryear. Why? Because not only are there technology implications, there are economic implications and social implications, right? And that's what makes it a unique space to live and play and work in, right? So I would say in terms of working with the key players, our goal is to build very deep partnerships. The way I say it is, we want to see NEO as being a trustworthy platform for DApp development, which means, being very, very measured in terms of how we launch, working with the well-known big players right now, obviously Microsoft, obviously, you saw them yesterday. And we do have plans to work with the other key platform players as well. We want to have NEO as a managed service. We want to be able to host NEO, make it easy for customers of all shapes and sizes to be able to use the NEO stack. So there's a lot more coming, and you're going to see over the next 6-9 months a whole lot more in terms of announcements.
Very excited for
Very
what
cool,
NGD Seattle is going to be doing. So where do you see blockchain gaining traction today? Where do you see its applications?
All right, you know what? I'm going to tell you, where is it not gaining traction? Okay, so where is it not gaining traction? I mean, look, as you very well know, gaming is huge in terms of the NEO stack, right?
Absolutely.
And at the risk of repeating what we heard yesterday from some of the keynote speakers, the Accenture folks and Microsoft, across the spectrum, consumer and enterprise, we are seeing very, very, very clear traction. Give you a few examples. Classic enterprise space, supply chain, healthcare, pharmaceuticals, obviously FinServe, fintech. I mean, a couple of days ago we heard the news about JP Morgan, Banco Santander. We heard about HSBC. So I think we are just again scratching the surface, right?
Absolutely.
Over on the consumer side, in terms of loyalty tokens, attention tokens, right? I mean, where are we not going to use this is what I would say. Right? When people say, where are the scenarios? I would encourage them to go spend some time looking at what's happening. It's very easy to say, okay, you know what, I get this, right? But no, actually, people oftentimes, I don't know what I don't know. Once you dig in, you're like, wow, I mean, this is not even the tip of the spear in terms of what we can do and what we are doing actually with the blockchain platforms.
Absolutely. So NGD Seattle was just announced last week. What are the primary steps? What are going to be the first things that you're really working towards?
Yeah, so two things. We will focus on tooling support, add-ons for VS Code and such. Once again, from a developer experience to make it as simple, as easy, as enjoyable as possible, make them productive. And secondly, frameworks, libraries, in terms of these recurring patterns, recurring users, use cases, scenarios. And in doing so, what we expect to do is to make it fun, make it enjoyable, productive for development, and then time to market. So what the business wants is time to market, time to value. So in doing so, we're able to enable time to market, time to value. And thirdly, but not the least, code reuse makes obviously the surface area less in terms of new development, which is good from a security perspective, from a scalability, from you get the whole picture, right? That's really the focus for us in NGD.
Awesome. Yeah. So we have a great community out here, NEO One.
Absolutely.
What do coordination efforts with developer communities like that look like moving forward?
So the core approach is that the way I say it is, the backlog will be prioritized by the NEO community, the global NEO community, NEO One, City of Zion, NEL, right? We have a unique advantage with NEO, which is the global communities. And we look to them in terms of priority, in terms of focus, and the backlog for us here in Seattle will be driven by the community, including NEO One.
Awesome. Yeah. So we've asked a lot of questions, we covered a lot of ground. Is there anything that we didn't bring up that you would like to talk about?
A lot, but I don't think we have time here. But the one thing I would say is, look, I think we have a very unique architecture with NEO. Very unique algorithm for consensus. You look at things like POW and notion of probabilistic finality might make sense for Bitcoin and so on, but in terms of building DApps, POW clearly is not going to be a viable path forward. POS has its own challenges. I strongly believe that the PBFT basis for NEO is a very strong theoretical computer science basis, which helps us to scale, to grow, be successful. And secondly, we believe in developers coming in from everywhere. Multiple languages, multiple tool sets. This has been the underlying vision that Eric and Hong Fei have put together for NEO. We want to build on it, right? And this is a shared vision with some of the large players in Seattle, like Microsoft, and that's why we see the opportunity to partner, to build, to grow, to scale, and we haven't seen the beginning of this yet. This is going to be a fun journey.
This is all very exciting stuff. So
Absolutely.
if any of our viewers want to get in contact with you or reach out to you, what's the best way that they can?
Look, I mean, multiple ways. I'll give you my email as well if you want. deVadoss@neo.org. Reach me on Twitter, LinkedIn, I mean, Skype, whatever you like. Just WeChat, of course. I'm on WeChat as well. So, you know, whatever ways come in, reach me. I look to hear the feedback. I want to hear you tell me what is working, what is not. That's what's going to help us, help you to be successful.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
If you can catch more of our interviews and coverage of NEO DevCon 2019 on our website at neonewstoday.com. You can also check out our footage on our handle at YouTube and at Twitter as well. So once again, thank you very much for chatting with us.
Appreciate it. Have a good day.